Hello, my name is Roman, and welcome to yet another astrology channel. Yeah, this channel, by the way, is an astrology channel now, so today we're going to be talking about why people don't believe in astrology, which to many of us in this amazing zodiac community may seem absurd, but to be honest, I used to actually be one of those people. Ooh, look, my hair. My hair's being whack right now, look at that. I used to actually be one of those people who didn't believe in astrology. Wow, my hair's being really whack. Yeah, I used to think that it was just a bunch of shit and it didn't make any sense because how the hell could the planets, the stars, the sky above, how could that affect us down here? But the reality is that the universe is just like a living being and everything in it is affected by everything else. It's like an ecosystem. Everything is interconnected in a way that which when you do something, it has a reaction. It's one of the most basic ideas about our universe is that everything is connected and every action has an opposite and equal reaction. Today we're going to be talking about the reasons why people don't believe in it, which by the way, some of these reasons I used to think were true because I used to not believe in this, which is interesting. Very interesting. Reason number one, people think it's just a bunch of shit that middle-aged women read about in Cosmopolitan. Cosmopolitan doesn't really have a lot of valid information on astrology, and I honestly don't think that the astrologers who work there know what the fuck they're doing. I think oftentimes they're just trying to make it seem like whatever's coming is really interesting, really fun, really good, when in reality, astrology covers everything, the good and the bad. A good astrologer will tell you specific information. Cosmopolitan will just tell you basic stuff, not necessarily the specific stuff. So, you need to find a good astrology YouTube channel, or perhaps you need to find some kind of astrologer who posts, what's going on in, a Taurus, a Libra, a Gemini's life online. You need to find that. You can't just, look at Cosmo and expect that to somehow be valid, because no, it's not. One other thing besides Cosmopolitan that's oftentimes is very, very misleading is Instagram. A lot of astrology-based posts on Instagram just say things like, if Taurus was an article of clothing, it would be a sweatshirt, and if Aries was an article of clothing, it would be a t-shirt, or like really basic, stupid ass shit. I mean, that's obviously over-exaggerating it. There may be some, like, truth in a lot of these posts, but they don't really give you valid information. More often than not, negatively affect people's perception of astrology more than positively affect it. Even if the people who are posting these things are trying to promote astrology and are trying to make more people see it and make more people view it. Or we can look at these posts and view them as entertainment, but we also have to remind ourselves, everyone, people in the astrology community, people who are science lovers, everyone, we have to all remind ourselves that this is full of shit. This isn't actually based in anything real. So reason number two, people don't understand that the planets affect us. I was talking about this earlier. Obviously, it sounds bizarre that where the sun was at your birth is going to affect how you are or what's going on, in your life today and what your personality is like today. But the honest truth is it does. If you think about it, the sun is a giant fucking moving ball of gas in the sky, and it's humongous. Humongous. Fucking, like, this is the sun, this is the fucking earth. It's like, the earth is like minuscule in comparison with the sun. So obviously that is going to energetically have some kind of effect on us, and most people just view that effect as just, the sun has a lot of energy that beats down on the earth. But what astrology really talks about is going beyond that. And it's not just the sun that alters our state of being on this planet. It's, all of the planets. It's sometimes other stars. It's asteroids. It's everything. Every little thing in space can somehow have an effect, even if it's a minuscule effect. it can have an effect on us. And I totally understand how you could possibly think that this sounds crazy, sounds bizarre. You know, I used to be there. But if you really do the research into your sign and the sign of the people around you, you'll realize that the honest truth is that it does match up correctly with where the positions of the planets, the sun, everything is around you. So that's why it's important for reason 3, you to read your entire birth chart. You have to, you know, a lot of people just look at their sun sign and they say, oh, I'm a Leo, that means I'm cocky as fuck. And I don't really think I'm that way. And they don't see beyond just, you know, the most basic traits of the sign. They don't really read into why the sign acts the way that they do, which is something that good astrologers tell you about, is not just stereotypes about certain signs. They tell you why the signs act the way they are. You need to actually find good people who actually give you good information. Again, not Cosmo. You need to find some good astrologers, some good people who will find you good information. And it doesn't take too long. It doesn't take so much research. It's just oftentimes the people who tell you astrology's fake are the ones who haven't done the research on it. You know, if you actually can sit there and say, I looked at my full birth chart, my sun sign, my ascendant, my, you know, Uranus, my Neptune, my moon, my everything, and say, this does not resonate with me, then okay. Then, you know what, maybe you do have a case. Maybe astrology isn't real. But for every single person who I've ever met who has actually looked at their chart, with every person who I've convinced to look at their chart, with every person who I've convinced to study astrology and to look into their sign, every single person has, you know, looked at it, looked hard at it, and gone back and told me, hey, this is correct. This doesn't seem like it's full of shit. This seems like this is honestly the truth about who I am and what this personality I have really means. Because we all have a specific personality that we choose to use outwardly, but there's a lot of internal stuff that the planets tell us, the moon tells us especially, the internal traits about ourselves. And oftentimes people will tell me, you know, like after they look at their full chart, that this, you know, this chart is revealing information about themselves to themselves that they've never shared with anyone, you know, or thoughts that they've had, or internal traits that they don't really outwardly use around large groups of people or people in general. And I think that's very interesting. And I think it's very important for every single person to look at their full chart before they say, hey, I don't believe in this shit. And, you know, even beyond that, you can look at the charts of the people around you. You can look at their ascendant sign. If you look at a person who you just met and you're trying to think to yourself, you know, this person doesn't really seem like a Libra, even though this person told me that they were a Libra, look at their ascendant. Because maybe their ascendant is something else. Because the interesting part about ascendant is ascendant sign is how you are towards people around you who you don't really know very well. You know, how you deal with situations that you don't really know very well. So if you just met someone and they say they're a Libra and you don't really see them as a Libra, you see them more as like a Leo, then who knows? Their ascendant sign might be Leo, or their ascendant sign might be something else. A lot of this, I understand, seems very theoretical from the get-go, but once you actually look into it, you'll find that there's a lot of different ways that the planets affect you in different ways. And each planet and the sun itself affects you in a variety of different ways, and you have to look at it and you have to say, hey, this does or this does not affect me. But you have to first look at your chart. You have to take the conscious effort to look at your chart before you could say, astrology isn't real, this makes no sense, this has no basis in science, fuck this shit, you know? And then reason number 4, this connects into the last reason. People simply have not done their research. They simply have not looked at astrology. They simply have not looked at their chart. They haven't done any research on astrology of the people around them, on themselves. They haven't done research on how astrology affects each generation of people coming up. They haven't done any research whatsoever. There's a lot of things that exist that we obviously cannot see. You know, only a couple hundred years ago, people thought that the world was flat. Only a couple hundred years ago, people thought that evolution didn't exist and we were all just created somehow. And the truth is that things are constantly changing in science, things are constantly evolving in science. And if we think about how far we've gone with science and how much things have changed, it's not a crazy idea to believe that one day the scientific community will actually look into astrology more and actually accept it. You know, the big reason why people don't believe in astrology, it's because of their egos. And that's the truth. They think that right now, what we know, all the information that we know about the universe is correct. Even though there was once a time when humanity, again, thought that evolution didn't exist, thought that the world was flat. During that time, they had the same mindset. They thought what the scientists say about everything is correct. And I'm not trying to sit here and talk shit about scientists, but the point is that science does grow, evolve, change. You know, ancient Egyptians thought that the heart was, you know, the center of the body. Since everything was connected to the heart, that's where the mind, that's where the consciousness was. That's where our thoughts came from. But now we realize it comes from the brain. Yes, the heart is very important still. The Egyptians weren't wrong about that. But the fact remains that it was the brain. We have to be open to something new. And it can be hard to be open sometimes. But when you look at the past, you have to remain open because anything can happen in the future. There are so many scientists who just sit there and say, I'm not going to even try to do any scientific research on this because I don't want to be seen throughout the science community as some fucking idiot. But I'm sure the people who first were trying to prove that evolution was real were seen as weird, bizarre, and were believing in concepts that totally were unnatural. You know, I'm sure evolution at one time seemed totally absurd to society, but now it's a fact. Evolution is a fact. You know, some people like to act like it's not, but it's a fact. And, you know, one day we might learn other things about evolution. One day we might learn more things about astrology. Maybe our current view of astrology is wrong. I could totally see that. I could totally accept that. But I still think there's a lot of truth to how the planet's movements are affecting us on this Earth. That energy from up there is affecting us. I don't think that seems like a totally insane point of view, idea, and thought system. That the universe around us, that everything that surrounds this planet, is affecting us. That we're not just contained in this little bubble and nothing else is coming in, nothing else is coming out. Nothing is changing within this bubble. It's just a container and everything's stuck in here and nothing is affecting the inside of this bubble. Like, I don't think that seems particularly insane to me. That doesn't seem like an absurd rule of thought to me. But maybe that's just my ego. I don't know. Who knows? Anyways, I think the best thing to do surrounding astrology, surrounding science, surrounding everything is to question everything that you learn. Every single thing you learn. So even if you decide, you know, if I'm talking to someone right now who has never believed in astrology and has never even thought to believe in astrology, has never even, you know, hasn't put any thought to it. In fact, you might be a person who totally rejects astrology and thinks it's totally fake. I encourage you to first try to learn about it. And second, question everything. Don't just sit there and say, oh, I'm a Cancer, that must mean I'm shy. Question why it means you're shy. Look at where the stars were when you were born. Look at where the planets were when you were born. Really question every little thing about it. Because the more you question it, the more you'll learn. And that's something that I found in astrology. We shouldn't encourage in any community, in the science community, in the astrology community, in any community whatsoever, to not question things. Because that leads to very, very bad behaviors. In the description below, I'm going to recommend a few tarot card readers, astrologers, who might help you and might help convince you that astrology is real if you don't believe in it. If not, you should check them out anyways, because they're pretty good, in my opinion. They have some very good information, very good insight on situations, and you could tell that these astrologers are very in tune and understand these things, understand these concepts even better than I do. I'm not an amateur, but I don't have a huge understanding of these things. Despite that, I still defend it and understand that there is a lot of truth to it. Sacred Scribe Tarot does tarot videos every single day. Very excellent, except for weekends. Weekends, she does a 2-day reading for it, but every single day, pretty much every single day, she does a tarot card video. And then also Milagros Tarot, I think that's how you pronounce it. I honestly don't know. Is also, there's a plane. Hear that? It's a plane. I'm kidding. No, Milagros Tarot is also pretty good. Damn, this plane is fucking loud. Milagros Tarot is pretty good too. Basically, she does videos every couple weeks or so for all the signs, and really provides a lot of insight. She tends to create videos a lot actually where, at least within my life, when a lot of things are going on, she drops a video and she gives me some insight as to what I should do in these specific situations. In terms of, analyzing your personality and that basic stuff, you should try to look for channels like the Amateur Guru's pretty good. You should try to look for channels that won't just, mention a few traits about the zodiac signs. You should really, watch videos that will analyze your or your loved one's personalities in depth. So look for videos that are at least 15-20 minutes long that analyze each sign. And that, I think, will help to convince you, if you don't believe in astrology, of its existence. From there, you can go on to looking at other planets in your chart and other signs, and soon enough, you will be convinced. I can bet on it. I'll include some of these channel links down below. Recommend it. If you should take anything from this video, just take that. First of all, question everything. Don't just blindly believe in everything that people tell you, whether that's astrology or science. And second of all, do your research. That's honestly the truth, because if people really research their signs, and people really research the signs of those around them, and people really, look into how astrology is affecting their day-to-day life, their year-to-year life, their month-to-month life, society as a whole, they will see the effects. They will see the effects. So, this was the video, and my hair keeps on being waxed, so I'm just gonna push it back. Thank you for watching. You should subscribe, please. Fucking subscribe. Kidding. Or leave a like or a dislike if you hate astrology. Go ahead, do that too. But don't leave a dislike before you actually research astrology. Hey, if you get your whole birth chart done and you look at it and you say, hey, this isn't me, then you could dislike this video all you fucking want. Hell, leave a hate comment. But if you actually take the time out of your day to look at it, I can guarantee you it's, the proof is there. You're gonna end up looking at your chart and you're gonna end up saying, holy fuck, this is me. And I'm gonna be the one laughing. So, holy shit, my hair is whack. Alright, until next time, catch you later.